What these Greens don't address, of course, are obvious factors influencing these tough economic conditions. We wouldn't need a socialist revolution to address them either. We've already mentioned tax cuts to increase growth, nothing doing with Polanski. Then we have mass immigration, which is clearly driving down wages and driving up housing demand, and thus prices. As a mechanism for low wages, it's been the greatest tool of big business in history, something which Marx would be making clear if he was alive today. It's something that the left and the unions used to realise, but the modern left do not. The Greens won't change immigration policy. Indeed, they will liberalise it further. They don't even see illegal immigration or the Channel crisis as a problem. Environmental policies, which are the raison d'etre for the Greens, also increase the cost of living. We are forced to subsidise renewable energy with our electricity bills, and renewable technologies remain unreliable and expensive methods of generation. Businesses have to pay even more than private individuals do. This lack of affordable power is pushing up prices across all sectors, from food production to high street shops. Part of what made things so easy for the boomers was cheap energy. Without continued use of fossil fuels and investment in nuclear, we are unlikely to get it ever again, but the Greens will never oblige. Their anti-NATO, pro-nuclear disarmament stance is another favourite of the far left. Polanski maintains he would not pull us out of NATO straight away because of current security concerns, but would do so after a European alternative has been built. The same would go for the nuclear deterrent. It's a long-term ambition to scrap it. Even though these things wouldn't happen right away, the fact he is even considering them should set off alarm bells in all sensible people. Incidentally, Polanski has the brass neck to accuse Reform of being traitors to Russia, when it is his policies that will be welcomed by Mr. Putin. The Greens are very pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, not shy of using the term genocide. Mohsin Ali, the new deputy leader of the Greens, is in his element with this and would probably be foreign secretary. Ali was made famous by his tirade about Gaza when he was elected as a councillor, which he closed with a fanatical cry of Allahu Akbar. He'd previously suggested the 7th of October attack was a fight back against Israel, and that Israel would take advantage of the atrocity to attack Palestine. The party would not be surging to quite this extent if it wasn't for the Gaza issue. Conversely, although the deputy leader is a bearded Muslim in religious dress, the Greens are also very pro-trans. They refuse to read the memo about the radical trans fad having burned out, seen as the dangerous absurdity it was, with nobody cowed by it as they were. Polanski still maintains a trans woman is a woman, and a woman can have a penis, even though the Supreme Court has ruled otherwise. This is Keir Starmer from 5 years ago. It won't win over the majority. Indeed, although the Greens' foreign and economic policies, with the exception of the eco stuff, are traditionally hard left, their social policies are characteristic of liberal progressivism. This is a tendency of the modern left, and you could argue this was begun by Trotsky as a means of causing international revolution by undermining the traditional order. The same is true of the bonkers position on drugs. The Greens are proposing to legalise all of them. This again seems contradictory to the Mohsin Ali demographic and is also not traditionally hard left. Communist governments have generally been anti-drugs, and indeed anti-gay or trans. Whatever strain of politics the stance is, it is certainly populism. An irresponsible, sweeping policy that reflects the widespread, but by no means total, acceptance of drug use. It targets old hippies and the hedonistic young alike. Legalizing cannabis or basic cocaine is one thing. I do not believe those drugs should be legal, but they are rather more benign than crack or heroin. The Greens, however, don't even seem to differentiate. They say they want drugs policy medically led, and they want addiction tackled rather than supply or possession. We absolutely should tackle addiction, but if you legalise drugs in the first place, you make addiction much more likely. They say they want the industry legitimised, so it is taxed and regulated. but legalization will encourage the black market. Unless it is properly stamped out, it will thrive, and yet more unregulated product will be on the streets. The Greens say the so-called war on drugs has failed, but in the last 40 years we've hardly had one. The establishment has simply retired from the field, as the clouds of marijuana in our towns and cities will testify. Our failure to enforce drug laws is not a reason to abandon them. On the contrary, it is a reason to rediscover the ethic of strict enforcement. Drug use is a major factor in the crime, mental health crisis, and social collapse that is all around us. We must tackle the supply, the dealers, and the users, not simply give up. Even if you accept the premise that criminalization has failed, there are some things that the state must not endorse. It should not allow hard drug use, any more than it should allow violence, tax evasion, or theft.